I want you to picture two lanes in your mind, like two lanes on a highway. One lane is called drift lane. This is where you're just kind of bopping around, doing stuff. You start writing an email, then you stop because you're not really sure how to phrase what you want to say. So you pick up your phone, you start scrolling Instagram for a while. Suddenly a Slack notification pops up, and you're like, oh, let me go look at that. And suddenly you're doing some random task that you know isn't actually that important, but you can't seem to stop yourself. You're just kind of drifting around from thing to thing. And you're vaguely aware that you probably should do some of those harder, higher priority things on your list, but you just don't feel like doing it. And even though you're not necessarily doing that much, somehow it's kind of draining to be here in drift lane. The other lane in your brain is called flow lane. This is when you lock in and you get totally absorbed in what you're doing. It often is that high priority, important thing of the day, and you are in the zone. Time disappears, you're doing your best work, and you are having the time of your life. And even though you're often working hard and doing a lot, somehow you kind of feel more energized at the end than when you started. Your brain loves to be in flow lane. It knows that being in flow is so much fun. And as your brain bops and drifts and weaves around in drift lane, it's actually trying really hard to get into flow lane. That's actually all that your brain wants. So here is the simple fallacy that prevents your brain from getting into flow lane. The simple fallacy that accidentally makes you procrastinate, even though you want so badly to be productive. Here's the fallacy. Your brain thinks that getting into flow lane should feel easy and natural. Now, being in flow lane is easy and natural and fun. So surely your brain thinks getting into flow lane should also feel easy and natural and fun. So if you're doing something and it feels difficult or confusing or overwhelming or boring, your brain is like, that's a sign that we're not getting into flow lane. All that stuff is the opposite of flow. And so your brain pings off of that difficult task and it looks for something easier to do because it's looking for that easy, natural feeling of flow. But here is the big secret that so few people realize. There is a big fat rumble strip between drift lane and flow lane. Now, what do I mean by a rumble strip? If you've ever drifted near the shoulder of the road while you're driving and suddenly your whole car is shaking and there's this loud rumbling sound and it just jolts you awake, that's because you just drove over a rumble strip on the road. Rumble strips are these bumpy patterns on the road that make a loud noise and jolt the whole car, and they're supposed to alert drivers to slow down or just watch where they're going. So I want you to imagine that in your mind, there is a big fat rumble strip between drift lane and flow lane, which means that yes, being in flow lane feels easy and natural and fun, but getting into flow lane feels bumpy, uncomfortable, and difficult. But don't worry, it doesn't last forever. It only lasts for a few minutes until your car has metaphorically gotten over the rumble strip and it's gotten all the way into flow lane. And then it is smooth sailing from there. So here is the simple 5-minute fix to cure your procrastination today and every day. I want you to spend 5 minutes on the rumble strip. And if you want to stop after 5 minutes and go back to scrolling your phone and drifting around, you can. But chances are, after 5 minutes, you probably would have gotten all the way into flow lane and you'll happily be working. This is like the productivity equivalent of that classic gym hack, which goes like, don't set a goal to work out, set a goal to put your gym clothes on and walk into the gym. And you can walk in and then walk right back out if you want to. But chances are, once you're physically in the gym, you'll probably end up doing a workout. And I feel the same way with this. I'm 100% serious. If you want to just stop working after 5 minutes on the rumble strip, stop working. That's totally fine. Just like how it's totally fine to just walk right out of the gym immediately after you walk into it. But just spend 5 minutes on the rumble strip and see what happens. And if you want to take this to the next level, set a goal to spend 5 minutes on the rumble strip 3 times a day. And this will really get you into the practice of getting into flow lane rather than just hanging off that rumble strip again and again and spending the whole day in drift lane. Until you have made that transition so many times that gliding over the rumble strip and getting into flow lane becomes second nature and absolutely habitual. Learning how to tap into flow on demand even in the face of difficult and uncomfortable tasks that you would rather just avoid, is one of the most powerful skills that you can ever gain in your career. Because when you are in flow, you are unstoppable. And flow is not a random occurrence that only happens when the stars align. Tapping into flow is a skill that you can practice and gain mastery over just like anything else. Spending 5 minutes on the rumble strip is just one way of doing that. If you want to spend more of your time in flow day to day, and if you want to build your career around flow internally by learning the skill of tapping into flow wherever you are, but also externally by designing a career strategy that positions your flow to solve high priority problems that other people will pay good money to solve, that's what I do with all my coaching clients. So come talk to me and let's get started. The link to book a free coaching consult is above, or if you're listening on Instagram, it's in the link in bio.